Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're gonna hear this. And it is 1:20 p.m. in the EST in this Hawk Island, Montreal. Yours truly, rock and roll, independent artist, activist, and athlete, geopolitical analyst, and theorist. First and foremost, I want to say my gratitude. I am grateful, thankful that my rent's fully paid for the month of May. Fully paid my rent, fully paid my electricity, and fully paid my food, for my coffee. So I got coffee. Rent is paid. May 9th today. Rent is paid. So I got 22 more days. May has 31 days, I believe. So 22 more days. I'm good to go for the rent. Rent's paid. Electricity bill is paid. Thank you, workers of Hydro Quebec, who built more than 63 dams across this province of La Belle Province in the past, and of course, who now, thanks to one or a combination of those dams, I get to heat my coffee with clean, zero pollution, zero emission electricity coming from a combination of those dams. And I credit, put on the table, millions of tickles, millions of kisses, and billions of hugs. And fourth dimension to that trinity of hugs, kisses, and tickles. Fourth dimension is gonna be some dragon rock and roll, so that in the coming 7 years, go Hydro Quebec, go build Dragon, seven more dams, get to 70. This independent artist, athlete, and activist, triple A plus other dimensions, who's not perfect, far from it. I do not play the self-righteous guitar. I got some issues, got some vices. I'm androgynous, pansexual. One day out of seven, I'm cuck, cuck, cuck. Now you know more of my secrets. One day out of seventh, I fantasize. I got cuckold, Cuckold, Now you know more fantasy, more of my secrets, Mister whatever, secret police and whatever. But as I urge all our leaders and to be more open and to so that we are to be free men and women and ensure and secure liberty and implement my trinity of theories, which I'm calling for. Sexual liberation is part and has not come without blood, sweat, and tears for myself. And of course, I have been depressed and suicidal. I've conquered depression. I've conquered depression. I've conquered depression. And sometimes it's better to be open and sublimate and channel into art, working out, training, and exercising, into fitness, into boxing, as I am challenging Tyson Fury. And I'm workout, train, exercise is my medicine, has been my medicine, and is my medicine and therapy of choice. So I encourage you all to work out, to train, and to exercise. Working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Created my own workout program right here in this room of Sun Temple in 2019 in October. Lost 77 pounds, and I am still on a fitness journey and getting fitter, fitter, fitter. Yesterday went on more than 4 hours march, special march dedicated to ongoing relief efforts for the flooding here in Quebec, Lanaudière, and Charlevoix, and of course other fighting firefighters in Alberta. Go firefighters in Alberta, go firefighters in Alberta, go. There's a special dedication also to the firefighters and the relief efforts and the security efforts and the firefighting efforts ongoing, not in Confederation of Canada, North America, North America, as I'm a North American Canadian Quebecer, and I am not perfect, far from it. Encouraging all to work out, train, to exercise regularly. I have been and will call for the mass financing of citizens across the North American Civilizational Collective, as I call North America a civilizational complex, as I am a philosopher, a geopolitical analyst, and theorist, and I call for the implementation of my trinity of theories, the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, the DRT, Debt Fusion Theory, and the DFT, the Democratic Fusion Theory, that trinity of theories to be implemented via the fourth dimension. And that fourth dimension is love, and love is also action. And of course, what I put on the table, what you can put on the table, like you can put XYZ, you can put complement MYA or whatever the case may be, and we can all work together and complement in this 21st century, because I am for the greater good, while also I want to get a maybe something bigger than this underground room of Sun Temple, so I can have open doors Monday to Friday, because right here in this room of Sun Temple I cannot have open doors to hug. Matter of fact, the main message is today with consent. Hug like you never hugged before with consent. 20 minutes, a whole period of hockey is 20 minutes. Hug 3 periods, 20 times 3. That's 60 minutes. You can hug for the entire duration of this video. Just don't have to listen to look at the visuals. You can just listen to the voice, and you can just hug the whole duration with somebody with consent. Hug the whole duration. Hug this. What are we fighting to save civilization for? Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street. Please give 10% of every million that you make, buy, sell, trading futures, options, stocks, puts on the stock market. That monkey business. Color the heart from this independent artist, athlete, activist who's $10,000 in debt. But my rent's paid, electricity bill is paid, and have been and will be open for business. Triple vaccinated, survived COVID, had it each year, 2020, 2021, 2022, last year, not this year, but of course, first time was very serious. I thought I was gonna die. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. Let it be healing, 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 joy, strengthening for my allies and armies. Pledge your allegiance to our de facto family. And of course, I'm gonna ask again for an anonymous sister friend who's been family for years to marry me in an open BDSM, open BDSM, because I am androgynous, pansexual, open BDSM switch. 1 day out of 7, cuckold marriage, cuck. Special 21st century. I am a pro-labor, universal revolutionary centrist. Strongly encourage hygiene, hygiene, hygiene. Super important. Hygiene. I open carry my disinfectant, and I am triple vaccinated. I urge all, if you haven't got vaccinated, vaccinate and channel the aggression, because I admit I have aggression in me. I have aggression, but my brothers and sisters, I channel it. I do push-ups, I do squats, I do hawks, I do I do XYZ, right? I channel. It's important to channel and sublimate, two keywords of my philosophies. To channel and sublimate. That's why I believe now where we are with these new energies, sexual liberation, and everything that we have throughout North America, the sports, the social media, that we need to channel. Right? To do push-ups, to do hawks, and be admit, what could I use today? Well, I could use a massage therapy session, but I'm grateful, thankful that I can substitute myself, I'm speaking, take a bath, because I got a bathtub, so I'm grateful for that. Hot water. I can immerse myself, which I do during the Sabbath on the weekend, to immerse myself for a whole duration of an hour, just meditate in the water, holy sacred water, and substitute for a massage therapy session, which cannot afford at the moment, but calling on the billionaires and millionaires and Wall Street to finance the farmers and the truckers, because they need a massage therapy session more than me. Probably a millionaire, that's what I would do. Probably finance. So thank you, farmers, because everybody has to eat. Food security is important. Finance the farmers, some massage therapy sessions, some washing of the feet, whatever, spa, sauna, something for the body, for this body. My philosophy is that this body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. How do we invest in the body? By working out, training, and by exercising. By working out, by training, and by exercising. By working out, by training, and by exercising. Regularly, it's medicine and therapy, and have been and will continue to call by a public-private partnership for the mass financing across the North American civilizational complex, aka North America. That's why I'm calling on my brothers in the NFL National Football League, in the NHL National Hockey League, in the NBA National Basketball Association, who make the most average 7.7 million annual salary in the NBA. Please finance and MLB to finance food security, women's sports, because they don't make even close enough, and food security is important, right? To do some charity and that, to finance women's sports leagues, and work on a public-private partnership, which I'm calling for in all ways, as of course, my dream manifesting as the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom is fundamentally a public and a private partnership, right? A public and a private partnership. All corporations, organizations, and institutions that I'm calling to support my vision and the implementation of my theories. The Trinity, Holy, Sacred, Divine, Adrian Hanna, Dragons, Dancing Goddess, and Dragon Kingdoms Trinity. The CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, which will address questions of alienation and integration in North American civilizational complex. And of course, defense, and security and service. And of course, DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the Universal Exchange Unit, maybe by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and their unique biometric identifiers to create the Universal Exchange Unit based on the US dollar, have like the euro. In Europe, they did the European Union, the monetary integration, they created the euro. So have that in North America, and we can unite it with not just NORAD, but NATO as well, BIS, Bank of International Settlements, and whoever wills for this, join this new geopolitical and political, social, and alliance, and calling all to support my dream, manifesting as the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. The Dragon Empire and the Dancing Goddess Kingdom are one. It's like the Dancing Goddess Army, a public-private partnership with the Dragon Army, to be only for defense coast to coast, because we got two oceans, that geopolitical reality that way is the Atlantic, To the east, to the west is the Pacific, right? To the west is the Pacific. Myself, also a universal spiritual teaching student, being born many past lives, was born right here in this Montreal Hawk Island. Is a metropolis, second biggest, most populated city in Canada and in North America. Big, surrounded by a big river. We have a mountain system right in the center heart, and from above, Montreal looks like a hawk. If you're looking for a bird, you could look to somebody who looks like a sock. Somebody might see a bird, a turtle, whatever it is. But I was born right here in a past life. So I'm a Quebecer, Canadian, North American now. I was even born before, in North America before, because I'm a universal spiritual teaching student. I have beliefs in incarnation and reincarnation. So I was born many nations, empires, from ancient Egypt, ancient India, ancient Babylon, ancient Rome, even here before Columbus set foot in 1492 in Hispaniola, Cuba, and was born twice in the USA, served both times in that life in the US Army, and served in the United States Army, and of course was born right here as a Quebecer, pure land Quebecer, and was also born as a before the colonization occurred. But now we need, as we reconciliation, right? To my brothers and sisters who are black or brown or Mexicans. I was born in Mexico in a past life also, and I speak some Spanish, and I learned a little bit Spanish. And in my household, in my home, there's been the three languages we spoke: French, English, and Spanish. French, English, and Spanish. French, English, and Spanish. And I love Spanish, and I'm calling for the North Americans to unite. And of course, we made the great compromise of North American harmony on the French language, what I call the Great North American Linguistic Compromise for Confederation. Created Confederation about 156 years ago, which of course is on the language, on the French language. The beauty of the French language. I'm gonna switch in French, and after I finish this introduction. So I encourage all the workout, train, exercise. I have been and will call for the mass financing via public-private partnership for citizens to be incentivized to work out, to train, to do my workout, which I'm calling as age. Can be as young as 7 years of age, because my workout is effective, simple, and efficient, and I've performed more than 350 workout training program sessions since October 2019. Can you imagine? So many workouts have I performed. More than 350 sessions. More than 350 sessions. And I've changed, turned that A of my surname into a no. Dragon became dragon, dragon became dragon, dragon became dragon. So I'm calling for this public-private partnership, the Dragon Army, to be strictly and only for defense, coast to coast, security and service, with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding, services, massaging, washing feet, cooking, cleaning, helping with the children. Could be anything of that matter, of that situation, of that. With consent, mutual understanding, hygiene, and with applications, with public-private integration. That's what I'm calling for. The creation of two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The North American Citizen Integrated Social Security and Defense, to be only and strictly for defense of North America, non-intervention, to be an institution integrated with all existing other institutions, to be for the North American Civilizational Collective. Defense, 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 ocean to ocean, northeast, west, south, and to be for services and security, whatever services, and emergency response. I've been doing meditations of how the Dragon Army Public-Private Partnership would have been able to intervene in Alberta fires, whatever it is required, right? With the helicopters, satellites, and integrated with citizens. And I've been doing the meditation yesterday on the march. I marched for 4 hours and 4 minutes in steel toe boots. So this is the dream, part of the dream, manifesting as the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. And yes, I am a world peace advocate, but I am Quebecer, I am Canadian, I am North American. I do not consider myself member of any diaspora. I do not consider myself a member of any diaspora. I do not consider myself to be a member of any diaspora. I am a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, and I am a world citizen, rainbow dragon, but of course I am a North American Canadian and Quebecer. I desire world peace, as paradoxically I'm a world peace advocate, but it seems that geopolitically my scenario and my analysis of 2019 has proven in many ways to be correct. Sometimes things stuck in the tongue. It's gonna stretch a little bit while working out. I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm worked out yesterday, but if you don't stretch a bit, we're gonna do a little flexing. Encourage all to stretch, to work out, to train, to exercise regularly, to stay fit, and try to be as active, physically active as possible. And physical activity really is a medicine. 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 I wish I could afford a massage therapy session, but I would ask the millionaires to give the farmers and the nurses, and the doctors and the truckers, finance them. Billionaires, Wall Street, finance them. And now it's May, it's June coming during the summer. I want finance them because I'm grateful for a bath which I take. So grateful for today. My rent's paid, electricity bill is paid. Thank you, farmers, because everybody got to eat. All involved, cooks, butchers, bakers, all involved in the production and the distribution of food. Nurses, firefighters, public security workers, all the cooks, all those who come yesterday, pick up the garbage and the recycling 3 times a week. One for the garbage, city workers, city sanitation workers for the garbage, for the compost, and for the recycling, garbage, compost, recycling, garbage, recycling, compost. Thank you, city workers of the city, who come for those aforementioned, and thank you the workers of Hydro Quebec, who, thanks to whom we have electricity, so that we could do the work, so that we could heat our coffee, so that we could do everything that we do, have the lights, city lights at night, and the traffic lights, and all the things which we do are thanks and part of to the aforementioned one of the combination of those 63 dams, which I'm hoping to see 70 built in the coming 7 years. Build 7. I'm gonna rock and roll for Hydro Quebec and put on the table kisses, because kisses got by the trillions of kisses credited from the goddess Jody DSS. Yes, I said goddess. Tickles got some hugs. I got billions of hugs. Billions of tickles, billions of hugs, tickles, and hugs, tickles, kisses. Trinity plus other dimensions, philosophy, some brain and some muscle, because brains and muscle has been, is, and will continue to be required for us to build, maintain, and upgrade civilization, right? To maintain, build, and upgrade civilization. Brains and muscle has been, is, and will be required to build and maintain civilization. Brains and muscle has been, is, and will continue to be required. Brains and muscle, some brains, some muscle, for the building of civilization and for the maintenance, and hopefully for upgrading civilization, which I believe my trinity of theories, their implementation does: the CIT, citizen integration theory, DRT, death row fusion theory, and democratic fusion theory, DFT, via the fourth dimension LOV, to be implemented for the creation of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, to complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the international or North American citizen integrated, and defense only, for defense purposes, for security and service. Street name, code name, or short name Dragon Army, with the North American integrated dancing. Integrated, that will be an all gender, all ages, all sexual orientations inclusive dance league, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, to be the DGA, the Dancing Goddess Army. DGA, the Dancing Goddess Army. The Dancing Goddess Army, for pleasure and purpose. Challenging Tyson Fury, thank you, anonymous sister friend, whom I asked. I'm gonna ask again for marriage, and especially I'm androgynous, pansexual, so consider myself half male, female, and I'm pansexual, so I'm a homosexual as well. And she gifted me, anonymous sister friend, these gloves, which I'm challenging Tyson Fury to fight, to fight on to fight on in a boxing match on the Canadian in Canada in Montreal, maybe on the 24th of June. So I got 7 weeks, if not on July 1st, Canada Day, June 24th, Canada Day, if not 4th of July, because I was an American twice in past lives. Let's say earliest June 24th, latest September 11th, or whatever it is. Never late, October 31st, could be on Halloween, whatever. She gifted me my anonymous sister friend whom I'm asked to marry me, and whom I will give half of the proceedings, almost half, because I'm going to give 10% to charity. So she gifted me a few years ago when I challenged Donald Trump to a boxing match these gloves, these red gloves, and red is my favorite color. And I've been training, and I will train in 7 weeks with these gloves to fight Tyson Fury for my one and only boxing match on the Canadian-US border. To fight Tyson Fury on the Canadian-US border, on the Canadian-US border, on the Canadian-US border. I was challenging Donald Trump, and now I'm challenging Tyson Fury to fight me on the in Canada, Montreal, on Hawk Island, Montreal, aka Hawk Island, asking for 333 million. We'll give 156 to my anonymous sister friend and keep 156 for me, build the Forgotten Goddess Temple, and give 22 million the left, because it's about 10%, right? Give to food security charity for women's sports leagues, charity for LGBTQ causes, and charity for the environment, and of course to build with the money I'm going to pay my $10,000 debt to the RBC, buy a house so I can have open doors. That one, which has been left decrepit, desolate, and decaying for about 7 years in West Mount, there between 57 the Belvedere and 53 the Belvedere. Gonna finance it, gonna buy it, I'm gonna go rock and roll there. I can have open houses, open doors, while of course I continue my fitness journey, my rock and roll, my art, rapping underground for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses. Special rapper. I hobby rap. I can rap, hobby rap, rock and roll, rap both, a little bit of pop. I'm an artist as well as an athlete and an activist, AAA plus other dimensions. A geopolitical analyst and theorist and philosopher who's not perfect, far from it, who's been through depression, been suicidal, and I've conquered depression, I've conquered depression, I've conquered depression. And I am not without faults. I last. I 1 day out of 7. So 7 days a week, 1 day out of 7. I'm a CUCK. Now you know more about me. I'm a cuck. Leaders of the free world, I urge to, if you have certain those-ish situations of sexuality, that to put it in the open so that no foreign actors can blackmail any of our leaders. If you have, I would give you an example. Let's say Prime Minister, he's been involved in I don't know, let's say interracial cuckold with his wife, because they wanted to indulge, to try it out, to experience, to experiment. Let's say for argument's sake, and you got somebody who's listen, we filmed you, got you. We'll say, well, I should have been. Oh, film me again. Let's do it again. Can't blackmail me with nothing, man. Freedom is a double-edged sword which I cannot lift by my solo, by myself. Got tiny hands, tiny feet, tiny little androgynous. It grows rockets sometimes. In a past life, I built some ICBM rockets. In a past life, I built some ICBM rockets, those intercontinental ballistic missiles. But let's say, for argument's sake, that would be something which would have happened. In theory, in speculation, analysis, as I'm a geopolitical analyst, that would have happened. Let's say XYZ. It's possible. We have sexual fantasies sometimes. We repress. I'm not for repressing. I am for channeling and sublimating, channeling and sublimating, channeling and sublimating. Dragon Army, one of the Dragon Army's motto is we. Dragon Army public-private partnership, which I'm calling for, is we channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. We channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. Yeah, hug hard, push-ups and hugs, man. For how many push-ups? Dragon Army needs to give the exact amount of hugs, you know. But let's say now, because China's in the news, right? And China's in the news for geopolitical sake. Let's say a Chinese spy spied on Trudeau's private life. He's allowed to have. And let's say they had, I don't know, they had a relationship of that matter. Cuckold, let's say, whatever the case may be. Cuckold, let's say cuckold. Whatever it may be. Interracial cuckold or whatever you want to call it. And a Chinese spy would say, trying to blackmail Trudeau, I got his back. Whether we agree, disagree, but I got Trudeau's back at the end of the day. I hope Trudeau, if somebody asks, what do you think about Trudeau? I might say, well, I'm hoping Trudeau's bi-curious and he comes to the Pride Parade in Montreal in 2023 so I can give him a good kiss. That's what I think of Trudeau. But that aside, let's say that would happen, theoretically, physics, whatever. Theoretical physics. And then would Chinese spy or Russian spy, in geopolitics, or I would say we're gonna blackmail you with this sexual blackmail, as I think a few years ago somebody tried to blackmail me sexually, and I've made a video about it, so something about whatever, whatever the case was. So whatever the case is we need to channel and sublimate. Take another fact in parallel to this, there's many who are LGBTQ in the sports leagues. I'm going to say patriarchal because there's not enough women's sports leagues who make that exact amount of money. Let's be honest, right? How many sports leagues there are? Women's sports leagues, that make not even close economically, financially, commercially to what the NFL, National Football League. I love football. I love gridiron. You see me working out, training, and exercising. That the NBA, National Basketball Association, NHL makes, MLB4. They make average salaries of all those is in the millions. The average salaries of the women's sports leagues is in the tens of thousands. Not even in the hundreds of thousands, but in the tens. So imagine how many zeros. There's 2 zeros there. The average, right? So they make way, way less. That's why I'm calling on them to finance women's sports, right? I would do that for my fellow sisters. I would finance women's sports leagues for sure. Basketball, soccer, right? I would. I want to see the Dancing Goddess Army to be an integrated dance league, be able to be inclusive for the 21st century to trans men and women and all ages, all sexual orientations. That's why integrated, right? Integration sometimes. More integration, and I'm a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. My universal revolutionary centrism comes in a firm belief that where we are now, in May 9th, we have to make this public-private partnership as a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. But let's say theoretically that would happen, that there would be some, whatever, that case, which I said, that Trudeau and his wife, theoretically, I love both of you, health to the Trudeau family, health and blessings of health. At the end of the day, I got Trudeau's back, I might disagree, I might take in a different course as a prime minister with certain involvements in XYZ, but at the end of the day, I'm a Quebecer, I'm a Canadian, I'm a North American, and I am on this island, and I got my Quebecers' backs, I got my Canadians' backs. I want myself to heal as I have been healed, and I want to be free in my sexuality, to have sexual pleasure, to have and give massages, to do what I do, and to continue to do, to see life and see the youth happy and joyous here in Quebec, La Belle Province, promote the bilingualism, and of course to be loved, to be loved. to be loved, and to channel, for them to learn, to channel the aggression and the violence is super important. Push-ups and hugs, workout, train, exercise. Sexuality, if we repress certain elements, it'll make us sick, it will make us ill, make us diseased, right? I'm a universal spiritual teaching student. The body for me is a temple for pleasure and purpose. My allies and armies, if I can give any hugs, any pleasure whatsoever, just ask. Whether you're black, brown, white, you know. You might disagree on spiritual matters. We might disagree on X, Y, Z, but I firmly believe in my Trinity of theories. CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, DRT, Natural Fusion Theory, and Democratic Fusion Theory by LOV. But let's say, theoretically speaking, that there would be the case for Trudeau to be in such a situation, such a position. It will be a tough one, right? Because that would have been his private life. I put a lot, my private, my XYZ, in the public. But I'm not perfect. Far from it. It's we have this compromise which we also make at all times. Public and the private. The public and the private are always to be a compromise. Just like right here, if I say, well, I don't have this, or just I don't have this lust. I have these sexual feelings or these biases which we do subconsciously. We are triggered in many ways subconsciously, and we fulfill, or we if we repress, it will make us ill. If we suppress, it will make us ill. But like take myself for example with the pornography. I've set a discipline, and it has worked for many many months to only watch pornography during the Sabbath, which begins Friday at midnight and lasts until Sunday. So the Sabbath is from the weekend, from Friday to Sunday, and I only watch pornography during then. I haven't watched in the past, I believe 7 weeks or so. I haven't watched. I went, but I didn't click, so it was like 44 seconds. I went on the site, and then this weekend I just stopped. I said I'm going to use my imagination. So I used my imagination, and I masturbated and whatever have you. Self-pleasured. I call masturbation self-pleasured. I call masturbation self-pleasured. Because pleasure for me is holy. With consent, and hygiene and mutual understanding. To give somebody pleasure in whatever ways, in the body, because this body is holy, sacred, and divine, right? It's not something to be ashamed of. That's why I thought hygiene and physical education teaching need to be increased in schools, in high schools across North America, and sexual education in high schools, consent, the growing LGBTQ who are coming out of the closet. Many have to come out of the closet in the NFL, National Football League, in the NHL, National Hockey League, in the NBA, National Basketball Association, and in the MLB. Many, many have to come out of the closet, right? Many have to come out of the closet. It's things we repress, right? Things we repress, things we do X, Y, Z, right? If we have um, certain things which we have sexually, so that authoritarian, whatever we call authoritarian, totalitarian governments or foreign actors, which XYZ factors, such as now we have Russia, China from the east, we have Russia from the west, we have China, two oceans, from the Pacific, China, Atlantic, we got the Russia geopolitical situation affecting North America in different ways, and now it's in the news yesterday, the expulsion of a Chinese diplomat. So let's say theoretically a Chinese spy would have had that on either Legault, my Prime Minister Trudeau. Whatever. They experimented, they did whatever, and they would be blackmailed. You're coming to blackmail my leaders here. I might disagree, I might propose different courses of action on the French language, on whatever have, but at the end of the day, I'm in Montreal, I'm a Montrealer, Quebecer, Canadian, North American, and I have my fellow Quebecers, Canadians, Montrealers back as the farmers. I have lived here. I don't know, whatever people have in different situations in their lives, and myself, I'm a Quebecer, Canadian, North American. I do not consider myself a member of a diaspora. I am for North American unity and integration because I believe we North Americans constitute a collective North American civilizational complex. And yes, I'm a world peace advocate. I believe that humanity, we need to evolve and rise above by channeling and sublimating violence and aggression, and don't repress sexuality and turn more sexual activity with hygiene, consent, with a homosexual like myself being pansexual. I'm also homosexual, being pansexual, meaning that I I'm for open. I'm not for the sex, for my anonymous sister friend, which I'm asking to marry me in an open BDSM switch, one day out of seven cuckold of marriage and what have you. BDSM switch. I love BDSM switch. BDSM, bondage, domination, and sadomasochism. Let's say my Legault would have indulged. My Prime Minister Legault would have indulged in that. I would have said to Mr. Legault, well, if he was blackmailed, comes me with some advice. Said advice. Peuvent aller se faire chier there. And I was to try to blackmail my Prime Minister with, let's say, once he has a spy from China or from Russia. I had my Prime Minister Legault had him in a hotel. He wanted to experiment BDSM. BDSM stands for bondage, domination, sadomasochism, and he was whipped by whatever sex worker or whatever. I would say should have called me. I would have given you a discount. I would have given you a discount of getting you 50-50. They're giving you a good discount. I would have back, but I have his back. I would have told to be open. Said, listen, Quebecers, I did this and now blah blah blah. So that neither secret service from Russia, secret service from China could be able to blackmail either my Prime Minister Trudeau or my Premier here in Quebec, Legault. If that were the case, speculation, and of course I'm using a bit of imagination, fantasy, and a scenario, right? So that it wouldn't be neither shame, neither embarrassment, and neither them to be able to be blackmailed. To be blackmailed by foreign actors, either from China or Russia, because now we got involved in the situation there. We got involved. I'm hoping for a resolution for peace. At the end of the day, my propositions are for North American defense, for the public-private partnership of the Dragon Army. And now it's in the news with the ongoing, there has been in the news, which we're going to read a bit. So, but think about that. Meditate if you made it this far into the video. Whatever, 44 minutes. To meditate on that, right? Because we need to sublimate and channel, not repress. And it's possible that one of our leaders wanted, and they have also our leaders, those who would have that right, have that right, right? For me, the only general who was able to lift the sword of freedom, which is double edges, my anonymous sister friend who gave 156 million from my fight with Tyson Fury here in Quebec, La Belle Province in Canada, which we're gonna tango, me and Fury for my one and only professional boxing match. Because heard Tyson Fury is the best, undefeated, and 333 million asking for 156 million for my anonymous sister friend, 156 million for me to pay my $10,000 debt, give some back to the government for support in the past years, and give of course some to the to build the forgotten goddess temple, to build the forgotten goddess temple, to build the forgotten goddess temple, to build the forgotten goddess temple. Build the forgotten goddess temple. I'm financing the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom with 718 trillions of kisses. Because kisses got with hugs and some brain and some muscle with that. So China, North American, Sino-Canadian relations. We're going to get at it now because we've been digressing a bit, and this is the main topic. So So it seems that deterioration of relation has been again taken another step in the Sino-Canadian relations of Sino-Canada, Sino-Canadian relations, which of course have deteriorated even further with the expulsion of an individual by the name of, let's see, we're gonna listen to the news, and we're gonna listen to the news. So in the news now, we're going to read a little bit of the news. China targets foreign consulting companies in anti-spying raids, from The Guardian. Chinese scientists find suspicious feature of coronavirus in the wild. In the wild. In the wild, in the wild, in the wild. And of course, in the wild. This is what's needed here. So it says here that Trudeau says the expulsion of Chinese diplomat shows Canada will not be intimidated. So yesterday the decision was made to expulse a Chinese diplomat in the ongoing saga, which supposedly there has been foreign interference and some foreign interference by the Chinese Communist Party. So again, we have to dissociate the Chinese Communist Party and of course the People's Republic of China, and we have to also discern and distinct the People's Republic of China from the Republic of China, which is another paradox, right? It's another paradoxical situation, which I'm going to discuss. So the paradox of that situation, which, as I'm speaking, it could be that the People's Republic of China, also called mainland China, decides to go or blockade what's called Taiwan, officially the Republic of China. It is very much possible. It's something that can occur. It's something that can transpire. It's something that can happen, right? That the Chinese in mainland, the People's Republic of China, and the PLA public, the People's Liberation Army, that they go into China, and that they, of course, into People's Republic of China, which is Taiwan. So what's known as China Taiwan, but officially China or mainland China is called the People's Republic of China, while Taiwan, the island of Taiwan, is called the Republic of China. So that distinction dates from the Chinese Civil War, when the nationalists with the communists, when they fought against each other, and of course had seen the victory in mainland China of Mao Zedong's army in 1949 October, establishing the People's Republic of China. So that situation there, and this situation with the ongoing Trudeau China saga, which of course has to do with the expulsion of the diplomat, which occurred and has occurring in as I'm speaking now. It happened yesterday. I don't know exactly what time, but supposedly I also heard on the news that China retaliated in a consul, Canadian consul, CONSUL, so a diplomatic representative of ours, of Confederation of Canada, has been expulsed, quid pro quo retaliation by China, which was kind of expected. So the ongoing deterioration of relations, where I pinpoint, and again, whatever my personal opinions on China, as I'm sending memos and have been sending memos, as I'm a philosopher, a geopolitical analyst and theorist who's not perfect, far from it. And I have my theories, I have my philosophies for North America, for Canada, for Quebec. First and foremost, what I my call to action to all, willingly loving. But of course, I sent some memos that it's China for many us in North America, in the West, if you will. China is a civilization which we do not fully understand due to from our perspective, right? For many years, I've read, and I send this memo. If we want to understand China today, we really have a Chinese leader, Xi Jinping's, and his China, his will where to take China today and tomorrow for their future. Really, we have to read, and one has to read, and the thesis, and Trudeau should give some reading, as I have listened to the audiobooks on what's called the governance of China. So the governance of China by Xi Jinping is a document, 4 volumes. It's a document that's over the years, over like a period of 11 years, 10 years, from 2012, October or November 2012, I believe October 23rd, if I'm not mistaken, till about last year, November 7th. So for 10 years, 2012, 2022. So for those years, that of course has been, is, and is valid today as I'm speaking in our relationship with China. So the governance of China is of course the main volumes, 4 volumes, which have to be explored and which have to be understood and which have to be dissected and analyzed in order for us to understand China of today. So China of today is of course not the China of the 1960s, the 1950s, 1970s, and 1980s. China has risen, whether we like it or not. How do we relate to it? China has risen and risen and risen since 1984. 1984, China has risen and risen. Super technologies, let's give it to them. They built mega cities, the most urbanization from 1984 till today, I could say, is they're still ongoing building skyscrapers, and they build these metropolises and mega cities with skyscrapers, integrated technology, and even, ports. Out of 10 biggest ports where ships dock for docks in the world, I believe that 7, if not 8 are in China. 8, can you imagine? Out of 10, I would expect to be 4 in the US, 5 in the US. No, out of 10 biggest ports, shipping ports where shipping docks and containers go and operate, 10 out of those shipping containers, docks, ports operate are in China, in mainland China, the People's Republic. 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. I believe 7, maybe 7 or 8. But still, can you imagine? So they built a civilization. They're building, and they have been building, especially since Xi Jinping took power, what they call the socialist spiritual civilization. A socialist spiritual civilization. They're building a socialist spiritual civilization. And of course, they're openly, as Xi Jinping in their Marxist, socialist, what socialism with Chinese characteristics, what they call ideologically, politically, socialism with Chinese characteristics, socialism with Chinese characteristics, socialism with Chinese characteristics. Just like myself, I call my universal revolutionary centrism the North American civilizational complex, the CIT citizen integration theory, the DRT debt refusion theory, the DFT democratic fusion theory via LOV for the creation of the two complementary theory. If we want to contrast Xi Jinping's governance of China and my theories and propositions for the public-private partnership for the North American civilizational collective. So they're contrasting that with both the East and the West. Me for North America as a North American Canadian Quebecer who is not perfect, far from it. So that situational awareness, we have to be very aware of that situation and the ongoing situation which is transpiring now with the expulsion of the diplomats. So the diplomats have been expulsed, quid pro quo. The consul of Canada, and of course the Chinese diplomat yesterday who was involved in whatever the allegations are and is given a few days to be exposed. So that situation, that awareness from our leaders in North America, I urge all CSIS, Canadian Security Intelligence Service, FBI, CIA, RCMP, police, SQ, Certitude Quebec, to the leaders, Legault, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, my Prime Minister Francois Legault, and Biden to read a bit. There's audiobooks. I've been listening to the audiobooks of the 4 volumes. There's 4 volumes spread over a 10-year period from 2012 to 2022. And it's probably ongoing. I don't know. Maybe now there's a volume 5 in the making. That I don't know. I know there's 4 volumes which we gotta listen to carefully to understand what we're engaging, what we're dealing with in a way, what we're dealing with here, because there's dimensions of the Chinese civilization with our North American civilizational complex, or the complex of North American civilization, which are not, which are very distinct in contrast, right? There's many elements with in China, in the People's Republic of China, which they don't have, right? They don't have that. For example, multiculturalism. In China doesn't have that. These are just one of the memos which I'm sending. China doesn't have that, right? There's a whole different civilization here which we do not fully understand, in my belief, myself included. I know a little bit from the governments of China to try to understand furthermore what Xi Jinping and what they're trying to build and what they have been building, which they call socialist spiritual civilization, or socialism with Chinese characteristics, right? And their way which we can define or characterize as the Chinese or China, they're more prone towards the collective, towards the group, towards the harmony between society and the individual, while us, we're more towards more individualistic, right? More individualistic. So that can be contrasted. If we are to simplify certain cultural, political, social spheres, we could contrast those in between like that, right? More individualism, more collective, right? So we have to understand what we're dealing with at the end of the day, right? And how we reconcile, how we move forward here today and for tomorrow, and make compromises if whatever compromises can be made, as we made the great compromise for the North American collective civilization on the French language, which I call the Great North American Linguistic Compromise for French, right? For bilingualism. And bilingualism, myself included, I love French and I'm a speaker of French, and I love French. But as we have to understand, the governance of China has to be read with a fully, a half, a third, certain percentage of the 4 volumes. Justin Trudeau, I urge Justin Trudeau to read it, to fully understanding. I urge Joe Biden, my Scorpio brother of the stars, Scorpio brother of the stars, Joe Biden is a Scorpio astrologically. If you're into spirituality a bit. So at the end of the day, I got Trudeau's and Justin and Legault's back. I got Legault's back, Justin Trudeau's back, and Joe Biden's back. Joe Biden's back, Trudeau's back, and Legault. While I advocate for my theories to be implemented across North America, the CIT Citizen Integration Theory, DRT Debt Fusion Theory, and Democratic Fusion Theory. VLOV for the security, defense, and regeneration, rebirth of the North American Civilizational Collective. And one of the words in the governments of China is they're striving, working for, to attain Xi Jinping, the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, of China, in other words. They're striving for that. So we have to read the governance of China if we are to follow it. Myself, I'm going to state I have no business interests, social, except for my study and my will to understand and see Chinese civilization, because it's a civilization, now has changed. It's a socialist civilization, socialism with Chinese characteristics. So those elements added in the modern China of the 20th and early 21st century, now as we're in the early 21st century, which I believe my Trinity of theories for the 21st century public-private partnership, for the North American Civilizational Collective, and even for that matter beyond, right? But as for North America, 2 oceans, east, the Atlantic, west, the Pacific, first and foremost, and I am on this island calling all to support and encourage all to work out, train, exercise, because it has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. As you see me stretching a bit, if I would have a radio show, 1 hour radio show television, it wouldn't be an hour past where I wouldn't be grateful, thanking the farmers, butchers, truckers, nurses, doctors, firefighters, public security workers, all involved in the production and the distribution of food, and the dock workers, city workers, those collecting, picking up the garbage every week, the nurses, the cleaning workers, the cleaning ladies, those in the fast food industry making a sandwich now, a cheeseburger, double cheeseburger, a coffee, giving it to a trucker, to those who load the trucks, those who unload, load the trucks, unload. I was sing rock and roll and cheer, 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 cheer the workers of the collective North American civilization. As I'm a pro-labor, universal revolutionary centrist, I firmly believe in the implementation of my trinity of theories. As a pro-labor, universal revolutionary centrist artist, athlete, activist, triple A plus other dimensions, geopolitical analyst and theorist, and of course, world peace advocate, the world's greatest living dancer fundamentally, who's not perfect, far from it, and not without fault, not without issues, not without vices such as aforementioned, the ones that we have, which I've speculated that maybe even our leaders have and they're allowed to have, but I urge and call the leaders, if they do have certain of these things, so that they not be able to be blackmailed by Chinese Secret Service police or Russian Secret Service police, to the east, to the west, to the west, to the east, to that be able to be able to be blackmailed in any way, shape, or form, due to having, if they do have whatever BDSM switch, let's say my prime minister was whipped, pow, 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 because he wanted to try it out, wanted to experience it. He was repressing it for, I don't know, 22 years or 25 years or 30 years or 7 years, whatever, 11 years, 13 years, whatever he was. Whatever it is, a sexual experience. And he indulged in it, tried it, and it ended up that a certain spy from China or Russia or whatever the case may be was filmed it, and now he's being blackmailed to do some policies, to implement some policies, to implement some XYZ, right? I call my leaders to also be open about the sexuality, and there's many who are in the closet, LGBTQ, homosexuals or bisexuals, lesbians who are in the closet, and with more and more liberation coming in. If we are to secure freedom and ensure liberty, it's a double-edged sword, and public-private partnerships for the 21st century are necessary. Please, multi-millionaires, mass finance, food security, mass finance, fitness. Let's get some paintings and paint and rebuild here, regenerate right in North America, in the ghettos, in the those more of North America, in the ghettos of North America, in the ghettos of North America, with our black brothers and sisters and our brown brothers and sisters. It's a time where we gotta do more love and more action and channel and sublimate the aggression, push-ups and hugs, right? Or duel. I fight my own battles myself. If whoever Xi Jinping wants to fight me in a boxing match after Donald Trump and Tyson Fury, you can be next in line. Putin, whatever. But I have no business, financial, commercial interests outside myself of this island in North America. I have no business, social, political, really interest outside of North America. Yes, I'm a world peace advocate, part of the LGBTQ community, but at the end of the day, I don't have no debts, I like to say I owe nobody nothing, but I do owe, I'm going to say something to my anonymous sister friend, I owe her a lot. The farmers, all those who produce the food, the builders of the houses here, of this house, of the dams, of the highways, the railways, of the street walking, the construction workers who build 63 dams here in Quebec. So I have certain debt to fellow North Americans, if you will, to the workers of the past who built this civilization of, as I presented my thesis at the beginning of the year, titled The Privilege of Civilization, which is a privilege of civilization, a privilege of civilization. privilege of civilization. A privilege of civilization. A privilege of civilization. A privilege of civilization. That was my thesis at the beginning of 2023. It's my thesis as the people's doctor, the people's athlete, the people's activist, triple A plus other dimensions. That is the thesis which I presented. And now we're gonna switch to some rock and roll in French. In French, and I'm gonna get a little bit more cup of coffee because I have some leftovers. And we're gonna tango in French. And now for the French version, because I am a Quebecer Canadian who was born right here on this island. In a past life, with help the Louis Cyr. If you don't know who Louis Cyr is, Google Louis Cyr. He's still considered, I believe, the strongest men to have ever lived, the strongest man to have ever lived, the strongest man to have ever lived. He might be reincarnated as a woman now, as I was a woman and a man, many past lives, many incarnations, and now I'm a androgynous. If you don't know what that is, meaning I'm consider myself both a man and a woman and pansexual. Not without faults, not without XYZ. I'm a philosopher, I'm an artist, I'm an activist, I'm a universal spiritual teaching student, and one day out of seven I fantasize that I'm a cuckold, C-U-C-K, so Secret Service, China. Don't try to blackmail me with that, or we're free, man. We're free people here. We're free people here, man. Pour la belle province, votre dragon arc-en-ciel qui vous chante le plus. S'il vous plaît, augmentez l'hygiène en public. On augmente l'hygiène en public, on augmente l'hygiène en public. Et je vous encourage tous et toutes à faire de l'entraînement physique régulièrement. L'entraînement physique régulièrement ça sera ma médecine et thérapie de choix. Faites un couple de pompes et avec consentement, donnez-vous un câlin comme jamais avant. Et mon message principal à la belle province québécois et québécoise, je fais appel à tous et toutes à faire de l'entraînement physique, à soutenir l'implémentation de ma trinité de théorie, la sainte trinité que j'appelle, par la quatrième dimension. La quatrième dimension, c'est l'amour. La quatrième dimension, c'est l'amour. L'amour, c'est aussi l'action. Votre philosophe, artiste, athlète qui danse le plus de la belle province, un septième comédien. Aujourd'hui, je discute, bien sûr, je continue le deuxième événement, discuter la géopolitique avec la Chine. Parce que là, hier, il y a un autre événement. Un diplomate qui représente le corps diplomatique de la Chine a été expulsé. Mais ils ont donné un couple de jours, il va être expulsé. C'est vis-à-vis qu'est-ce qui s'est passé avec le monsieur Michael Chung. Qu'est-ce qu'on sait, les allégations et tout. Puis là, aujourd'hui, ce qui paraît, j'ai entendu dans les nouvelles que le consulat canadien, donc un diplomate, ou peut-être tous, c'est encore à voir, de la Chine a été expulsé aussi. Je veux dire, nos diplômats ou un diplômat dans le corps diplomatique canadien en Chine, envoyé en Chine par nous, les Canadiens, a été expulsé, ou un ordre d'être expulsé aujourd'hui. Et la détérioration des relations entre le Canada, puis nous autres, les Québécois et les Québécoises, on fait partie du Canada, puis du complexe de civilisation nord-américain. Donc, ça a été fait que c'était comme un quid pro quo. Hier, la ministre des Échanges, la ministre Joly, Mélanie Joly, puis le premier ministre Trudeau, ils ont décidé d'expulser, de renvoyer le diplomate de la Chine, de renvoyer en Chine, vu qu'il y a eu une interférence dans les affaires internes du Canada, puis par l'extension du Québec, vu qu'on fait partie de la Confédération, puis moi, bien sûr, je suis pour la Confédération, puis pour le collectif de civilisation nord-américain, ce que j'appelle comme philosophe, analyste et théoricien en géopolitique indépendant, ce que j'appelle le collectif de civilisation nord-américain. Donc, Québécois, Québécoises, le Québec, le Canada, États-Unis, Mexique, on fait partie de ça. cette civilisation qui émerge, qui est en formation maintenant, qui était en formation depuis la Deuxième Guerre mondiale et dont on a fait le grand compromis du français, que j'appelle le grand compromis linguistique de l'Amérique du Nord. Parce qu'on a fait ce compromis il y a 156 ans pour le français, puis là, ça évolue, ça change, on fait des compromis au quotidien avec le français, puis bien sûr, moi, en tant que Québécois, dans cette vie et dans l'autre, j'étais né ici, direct sur l'île de Montréal, je suis un guide spirituel universel, qui n'a pas toutes les réponses dogmatiques, ou pas toutes les réponses d'une manière 100%, j'ai des questions, il y a des mystères, j'ai aussi des doutes, je sais mes philosophies, comme le corps, c'est un temps pour le plaisir, puis pour le but de donner plaisir aux autres, de travailler, danser, faire de l'art, faire de l'exercice physique, ce que je vous encourage à faire l'exercice physique régulièrement. L'exercice physique a été, sera ma médecine et thérapie de choix. J'ai perdu 77 livres, j'ai créé mon propre système d'entraînement efficace, simple, efficace, facile à faire. Très facile à faire, mais facile, peut-être pas si facile, là, mais facile du point de vue que ça requiert ni argent, ni gymnase, ni équipement. Dans ce point de vue-là, dans ce point de vue-là, facile comme ça, mais efficace. Ça requiert aucun équipement. Puis je l'ai créé en 2019, paradoxalement, fait en mai avec un scénario d'un conflit international, soit une troisième guerre mondiale, que en 2019, en tant qu'analyste et théoricien en géopolitique, j'avais fait une analyse de la situation mondiale, puis j'ai dit, hey, j'ai sonné l'alarme, j'ai dit, hey, l'être humain, là, l'humanité, qu'est-ce qui se passe? On s'en va, on est parti encore, d'après mon analyse, j'avais conclu que l'être humain s'en va encore vers un conflit international, soit une troisième guerre mondiale. Fait que j'ai créé, j'ai fait le développement de mon système d'entraînement physique pour aller en mai avec ce scénario. Vous avez bien entendu ça, puis j'ai la preuve, j'ai des centaines, j'ai plus que 350 vidéos d'entraînement physique que j'ai faites depuis octobre 2019, quand j'ai dit que j'ai eu la COVID 3 fois en 2020, 2021, 2022, puis la première fois, au début de février jusqu'à mi-février, c'était vraiment, vraiment malade. Vraiment malade, j'ai jamais été malade, je pense. Mon souvenir, j'ai perdu beaucoup de mémoire, puis je me souviens pas beaucoup de la jeunesse, je pense tout ça, mais un paradoxe, je m'en souviens plus des autres vies, comme quand j'ai aidé Louis Cyr à pousser des chevaux sur la calèche, puis en chantant sur les plaines, puis dans une autre vie, puis d'autres vies. Mais maintenant, c'est maintenant, aujourd'hui, puis pour demain. J'ai créé ce système d'entraînement qui ne requiert aucun équipement, ça ne requiert aucun équipement. Je vous encourage, je fais appel à un partenariat public-privé pour soutenir l'implémentation de ma trinité de théorie, la sainte trinité du dragon arc-en-ciel, analyste, théoricien en géopolitique, philosophe indépendant, qui a présenté la thèse en tant que le docteur du peuple en 2023 qui s'appelle le privilège de la civilisation, parce qu'on a un privilège, tous et toutes, du premier ministre au millionnaire à Céline Dion, celui sur l'aide sociale, on a tous ce privilège de civilisation, on utilise ces fois comme maintenant, j'ai chauffé mon café, j'étais en train de faire cette vidéo, j'ai pris ma douche avec l'électricité qui ne pollue pas, puis que ça vient d'une des 63 centrales de l'Hydro-Québec. Merci les travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec du passé. Aujourd'hui, puis pour demain, je vous crédite sur la table, je mets des bisouz, parce que des bisouz, j'en ai en milliards, des chatouilles, des câlins, puis un petit peu de muscle, puis la philosophie, puis je vous encourage dans les 7 prochaines années, depuis maintenant, d'aujourd'hui, puis de demain, qu'on construit encore 7 centrales, qu'ensemble, on se rend à 70 centrales. Ensemble, on se rend à 70 centrales. Dans 7 ans, on peut le faire pour le Québec, la belle province, puis le collectif de civilisation nord-américain, parce qu'on a de l'énergie, de l'intégration énergétique, plus d'intégration. Puis même que l'énergie de l'Hydro-Québec s'en va jusqu'à New York, à Manhattan. 5, 6 États maintenant. Donc, ce grand appel à tous et toutes, Canadiens, Canadiens, Nord-Américains, pour l'implémentation de ma trinité de théorie pour créer les deux institutions de partenariat public-privé, l'armée du dragon soit l'armée nord-américaine de défense, seulement de défense, sécurité et service, de côte à côte. De l'Est, il y a l'Atlantique, puis l'Ouest, il y a le Pacifique. Hein? Une réalité géographique très, très réelle, puis très unique. Deux océans, Pacifique, Atlantique, Atlantique, Pacifique. Atlantique, Pacifique. Pacifique, Atlantique. Puis pour la défense, strictement pour la défense. Strictement pour la défense. Seulement, strictement pour la défense de notre collectif. Puis pour la renaissance. Pour la renaissance. Adopter mes philosophies comme le corps c'est un temple, le plaisir, puis pour le but, l'hygiène en public. Puis l'entraînement physique. C'est pour ça que j'ai fait, puis que je continue à faire un appel pour un partenariat public-privé pour qu'on encourage, qu'on soutienne les citoyens à faire l'entraînement physique régulièrement. L'entraînement physique régulièrement a été, sera, et ma médecine et thérapie de choix. Je me sens tellement bien après avoir fait de l'entraînement, juste on s'étire un peu, puis déjà je me sens bien. Je me sens plus en forme. Hier, j'ai pris une marche de plus que 4 heures. Je dédie parce que là, il y a les inondations qui ont affecté Charlevoix, la Nodière, puis en Alberta, il y a le feu. J'ai fait une marche dédiée avec des méditations comment que j'appelle l'armée du dragon, soit de titre officiel, l'armée citoyenne intégrée nord-américaine de défense, service et sécurité. Strictement pour la défense. Juste la défense. Puis la sécurité, puis le service. Service avec consentement, entente mutuelle, amour et hygiène, tous les services. Que ce soit des massages, des câlins, des bisous, cuisiner, peinturer, lavage de pieds, aider les enfants, aller avec des enfants pour leur lire un livre en anglais ou en français, ou faire de l'exercice physique, ou qu'ils fassent parce qu'ils ont besoin, ou les parents ont besoin d'une heure, plus une demi-heure, une heure, plus qu'une heure de temps seul, sans les enfants. Ils ont 3 enfants, ils sont énergétiques, ils ne veulent pas les mettre sur les pilules, il faut qu'ils fassent de l'entraînement physique, il faut qu'ils sortent dehors, prendre l'air, pour ces services-là. Ça, c'est mon rêve. Mon rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon. De la déesse qui danse et du dragon. Bon, je peux être bien laïque, je chante rock'n'roll. Je suis un centriste, mais dans le centre, j'ai un pro-travail centriste universel révolutionnaire. Un artiste, athlète, activiste indépendant. Il n'est pas parfait, loin de là. Loin de là, loin de là. J'ai des vices, puis je l'ai dit ouvertement dans le public beaucoup. Je suis pansexuel, je suis androgène, je me considère comme homme-femme, femme-homme, femme-homme, femme-homme. Androgène, dans d'autres vies, j'étais né femme, dans d'autres vies, j'étais né homme, puis là, une fois, beaucoup de fois, puis l'ancienne Égypte, jusqu'ici avec Louis Cyr, j'ai été pure laine, j'ai né pure laine, j'ai été chez nous ici. J'ai pas d'intérêt en dehors, puis je souhaite la paix mondiale, mais à la fin du jour, je suis québécois, puis canadien, puis nord-américain. Canadien, québécois, nord-américain, avec mes propres défauts, en admettant que dans certaines choses, je suis médiocre. Dans certaines choses, je suis comme ci, comme ça. Dans certaines choses, je suis médiocre, comme ci, comme ça. Comme ci, comme ça, médiocre. Comme ci, comme ça, médiocre. Comme ci, comme ça, médiocre. Comme ci, comme ça, médiocre, médiocre. Comme ci, comme ça. Médiocre. Comme ci, comme ça. Comme ci, comme ça. En étant comme ci, comme ça et médiocre dans certaines choses, je suis aussi excellent, super, très bon dans d'autres choses. Un petit peu de rock and roll, un petit peu de philosophie, un peu d'art et des choses comme ça. Mais être médiocre dans certaines choses, comme ci, comme ça, et pas bon dans d'autres choses, des compétences que je n'ai pas. Je ne suis pas super bon, mais je suis super bon en analyse, en géopolitique. Peut-être super bon, le meilleur à chatouiller le monde. Peut-être pas, mais peut-être. Mais en tant que philosophe, artiste, et analyste en géopolitique. Mon analyse en 2019, ça s'est quand même prouvé être vrai. Dans bien de circonstances. Comme maintenant, regardez, hier, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Il y a eu l'expulsion d'un diplomate de la Chine. Puis la Chine aujourd'hui a expulsé un autre non-diplomate. Puis cette détérioration de relations entre les Nord-Américains et la Chine, puis l'Occident et la Chine, sinon Nord-Américains, sinon Canadiens, sinon Occidentaux, si on veut comme ça, a commencé en 2019, avant 2019, en 2018 à peu près. Quand Donald Trump et son administration, c'est la guerre économique, financière, commerciale entre la Chine puis les États-Unis. On appelle la guerre économique. La guerre économique entre la Chine puis les États-Unis a commencé en 2018, à peu près en mars. Puis ça a continué depuis ça, avec Meng Wanzhou puis d'autres événements, ce que j'ai pris en considération quand j'ai fait mon analyse en géopolitique, que j'avais proposé, j'avais conclu en 2019 que malheureusement, l'humanité, on s'en va encore vers une guerre mondiale, une guerre internationale. Et on n'a pas appris à sublimer l'agression, ce qui est très important. La sublimation, ça que l'agression, moi aussi j'ai de l'agression, je l'admets, mais mes frères et sœurs, je fais des pompes, je fais l'entraînement physique pour ne pas nuire à personne. Juste ma sexualité, ben, des fois, une fois par semaine, fantaisie de cuckold, qu'on appelle le cuckolding, voilà. Il n'y a pas d'intérêt en Chine, économique, financier, commerciaux, sociopolitique. Je leur souhaite la paix, je leur souhaite la paix à tout le monde, dans la paix mondiale. Je suis québécois, canadien, montréalais, nord-américain, puis je suis pansexuel, membre de la communauté LGBTQ. Je sublime la sublimation des énergies de l'agression, de la violence, de la sexualité. La sexualité fait partie de nous. Comme j'ai dit en anglais, quand je dis, imaginez-vous ce scénario, là. Un scénario comme ça. Puis à la fin du jour, c'est sûr que des fois, des propositions que je suis peut-être pas en accord avec François Legault, pas en accord 100% avec Justin Trudeau, XY. Aujourd'hui, puis pour demain. Je vais pour aujourd'hui, les théories, mes propositions, puis pour demain. Parce que failli mourir en 2020, j'ai eu la COVID, j'étais bien malade. Comme la pestilence, la mort. Puis dans ben des. Je dis je suis mort, dans la COVID, je renais. Je veux rien retourner en arrière. Juste maintenant, aujourd'hui, je dois faire mon lavage, nettoyer un peu, écrire des poèmes, faire de l'entraînement physique. Je challenge Tyson Fury parce qu'il n'a jamais été vaincu. Fait que pour mon seul et unique match de boxe professionnel. Puis je remercie ma soeur anonyme, puis j'ai demandé en mariage, je l'ai demandé en mariage, je vais demander encore. Un mariage ouvert, spécial, de BDSM, de bondage, domination, soumission, puis cuckolding. Elle m'a donné on m'a acheté, quand je veux encore faire un match de boxe avec Donald Trump, mais elle m'a donné acheter ses gants rouges, mon couleur préférée, pour la coupe d'année. Fait que j'ai dit maintenant, je vais m'entraîner pour. Je fais appel à Tyson Fury pour un match de boxe pour la Saint-Jean, le 24 juin. Sinon, le plus tôt, le 24 juin pour la Saint-Jean, le plus tôt. Peut-être après la Saint-Jean, sinon le 1er juillet, le 4 juillet, parce que j'étais américain et dans d'autres vies aussi. J'ai servi dans l'armée américaine 2 fois dans des vies antérieures. Ouais. Puis, sinon, dans le futur, entre le 24 juin pour la Saint-Jean le plus vite. Ou sinon pour le septembre. Sinon en septembre, que ça soit. Mais 24 juin, c'est idéal. On va baptiser Tyson Fury le dragon Arc-En-Ciel. Mais je demande 333 millions pour lui donner 156 millions à ma soeur anonyme. Je vais demander un mariage spécial. Parce que je suis androgyne pansexuel. Puis ça serait un mariage ouvert. Plus, puis, on se marie tous. Avec la belle province, Québécois Picoise. On se marie tous. La belle province, ma soeur anonyme, l'Amérique du Nord. On fait un mariage, un compromis de partenariat public-privé. Un PPP Pour l'armée du dragon et la déesse qui danse, c'est mon rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse qui danse et du dragon et vice-versa l'empire du dragon et de la déesse qui danse. Votre dragon arc-en-ciel philosophe athlète qui danse le plus, je fais appel à tous et toutes. S'il vous plaît, augmentez l'hygiène en public parce qu'il y a des germes, il y a des microbes. Tu sais, il y a toutes sortes de microbes, toutes sortes de germes. Microbes, germes, et des choses qui polluent, tu sais. Invisible quand vous touchez le clavier de la banque, tu sais. Lavez, hygiène en public, puis vous encourage à faire l'exercice physique. Et avec consentement, donnez-vous un câlin comme jamais avant. Pas besoin de me regarder, vous pouvez juste écouter la voix, puis pendant que je vous parle, vous donnez un gros câlin. Avec consentement, commencez pas à donner du câlin comme ça dans la rue sans demander consentement, tu sais. On demande. Des bons vivants, des bons vivants, des bons vivants. Et je fais appel à tous et toutes pour faire ce grand compromis pour le 21e siècle de partenariat public-privé, dans le fond. Un autre grand compromis, un autre partenariat public-privé. Puis, je suis pas sans défaut, je suis pas sans faute. Je veux du plaisir pour moi, je veux aussi voir les jeunes, la jeunesse, sublimer leur agression, sublimer leur sexualité, puis apprendre plus dans les écoles sur l'éducation sexuelle, puis plus d'entraînement physique. Parce que l'agression, moi je l'admets, j'en ai de l'agression, mais je sublime, sublimation, puis même la sexualité. Parce que si on réprime, on va être malade. On réprime ça, on réprime ça. Il y a bien qui sont comme moi, sexuels, homosexuels, pansexuels dans la Ligue nationale de hockey. Je suis sûr que dans les Canadiens de Montréal, il y en a un ou deux. D'après les statistiques, il devrait en avoir. Je sais que c'est pas facile, des fois l'argent financier, j'ai perdu de l'argent, puis l'opportunité, puis à cause que, bon, je sais que je suis pas parfait, des fois je rock and roll, puis, mais, je remercie travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec du passé, puis présent, puis pour le pain, j'ai du café, j'ai connexion Internet. C'est des privilèges de civilisation, ça. C'est un privilège de civilisation, comme qu'on a. Des privilèges de civilisation. Mais, pour retourner encore, j'ai fait une petite digression. Puis, mettons que soit mon premier ministre Legault, soit le premier ministre Justin Trudeau, qui à fin du jour, ben, faut défendre l'Amérique du Nord, le Canada, le Québec, des forces externes. Moi, j'ai pas d'intérêt ni à l'Est ni à l'Ouest, à travers l'océan Atlantique ni le Pacifique. Je me considère pas en étant membre d'aucune diaspora, moi. Je me considère pas en étant membre d'une diaspora. Moi. Je me considère pas personnellement étant membre d'aucun diaspora, comme le dernier jour. Une citoyenne m'a demandé, tu viens d'où? Ben, d'ici. J'étais né dans une autre vie de site sur l'île de Montréal, puis je suis québécois, canadien, nord-américain. Vous êtes ma famille, la belle province, tout ça. Mes alliés, puis armés, prêtés allégeance, légion, vous êtes ma famille. Puis elle a commencé, non, on m'a dit, puis ça. Puis on voulait entendre peut-être, je sais pas que je dis, ça c'est pas votre dragon arc-en-ciel, c'est pas Adrien, Adrien le Québécois, dragon arc-en-ciel, Bienvenue Adrien Dragon. La belle province. Je me considère pas en étant membre d'une diaspora, puis je leur souhaite à tous la paix dans le monde, que ce soit à l'est et à l'ouest, la paix dans le monde. Mais je fais appel à l'implémentation, puis à soutenir mon rêve de tout le gouvernement, toutes les institutions, toutes les corporations, Céline Dion. Je t'aime bien, rock'n'roll, je te chante une chanson. Pour un partenariat public-privé pour la renaissance de la belle province du Québec. On a la peinture à faire ici en Amérique du Nord, sur les bâtisses. On a des travaux qu'il faut faire ici au Québec, de bâtir. Je crédite des bisouz en millions, des chatouilles, des milliards. Puis des câlins, des milliards, plus à cette trinité de chatouilles, câlins, bisouz, d'autres dimensions, du rock'n'roll, puis des chansons, de la poésie. Pour que Hydro-Québec, je vais voir bâtir encore 7 centrales dans les 7 prochaines années pour qu'on se rende. On va se rendre à 70. On a 63 centrales au Québec, qu'on se rende dans les 7 prochaines années à 70. Fait que je vais voir bâtir plus de gratte-ciel ici, à Montréal, plus d'infrastructures ici, plus de centrales Hydro-Québec ici. Je n'ai pas d'intérêt en Chine. Je leur souhaite. Je souhaite une réconciliation, que ça soit. Mais c'est une civilisation qu'on peut-être comprend pas. On peut sublimer, on peut généraliser des petites choses. Comme nous, on est plus peut-être individuel. La Chine, c'est peut-être plus pour le collectif, plus le groupe. T'sais. Ces choses qui sont des distinctions socio-culturelles, philosophiques et idéologiques aussi. Mais puis je fais appel à tous et toutes à lire ou entendre sur l'audiobook, sur l'audio, parce que je suis en train de étudier, j'ai étudié dans le passé, personnellement, puis étudier qu'est-ce que ça s'appelle la gouvernance de la Chine, par le chef d'État, le leader de la Chine, Xi Jinping, depuis 2012, octobre 23, je pense, 2012, jusqu'à l'année passée, en novembre 7, octobre 2012 à novembre 2022. Fait que 10 ans, il a écrit 4 volumes, ça s'appelle La gouvernance de la Chine, 4 volumes. Puis là-bas, ça explique la philosophie, l'idéologie qui est marxiste, et ce que la Chine appelle le socialisme. Le socialisme avec caractéristiques chinoises. Ça parle de Karl Marx, comment ils sont marxistes. Puis, qu'est-ce qu'ils bâtissent depuis ça? Puis le changement qu'il y a eu, qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent construire, puis qu'est-ce qu'ils ont construit, ce qu'eux autres appellent une civilisation spirituelle socialiste. Il faut savoir plus. Puis, veut pas, qu'est-ce qu'on veut? Comme je dis, moi, j'ai pas d'intérêt en Chine, ni financier, économique, politique, culturel, ni j'ai pas d'intérêt à l'extérieur de la ville de Montréal, d'ici, de ma grotte de dragon, de la belle province du Québec, du Canada, de l'Amérique du Nord. L'Est à l'Ouest, j'en ai pas. Sur mon île, l'île. Mon pape, c'est le soleil. Il se lève là, il se couche. Il y a un coucher puis un lever du soleil maintenant, qui est pas dans le monde. Il est 2h47 p.m. Il faut comprendre la Chine, puis il faut comprendre ce qu'ils ont bâti, puis il faut dire, veut pas qu'est-ce qu'on veut, la droite, la gauche, puis le centre, comme moi centriste, révolutionnaire, universel, pour le collectif de civilisation nord-américain, ma philosophie et mes théories pour que je fais appel à l'implémentation, c'est que la Chine, ils ont bâti, depuis 1984, des métropoles, l'urbanisme, les métropoles, puis ils ont bâti une infrastructure, puis connectée avec technologie avancée, des métropoles de villes, puis des métropoles quand même, il faut le voir, là quand même. Fait que, qu'est-ce que je veux dire, c'est que leur système, ça fonctionnait pour eux autres. Comme mon système d'entraînement physique, ça a fonctionné pour moi, ça peut fonctionner pour vous, les Québécois et Québécoises, puis les Nord-Américains. Pour eux autres, leur système, ça a fonctionné pour eux autres, qui ont fait des réformes depuis 1984. Mais mes frères et sœurs Québécois et Québécoises, comme je dis, j'ai pas d'intérêt en Chine, j'ai pas d'intérêt en Russie, pas d'intérêt à l'est ni à l'ouest de la belle province de Montréal, du Québec, de l'Amérique du Nord. Je veux que ça soit la paix dans le monde, mais je connais pas la Chine, je connais pas la Russie, l'Europe, tout ça, je connais pas. Qu'est-ce que je lis, qu'est-ce que je me suis éduqué, surtout durant la COVID, lisant des centaines de livres, puis de tout ça. Ça, oui. Mais c'est une connaissance avec certaines limitations. Parce que mes connaissances, c'est en tant que Nord-Américain, en tant que Canadien québécois qui a souffert, qui était en dépression suicidaire. J'ai conquis la dépression, j'ai conquis la dépression, l'exercice physique, le soleil, puis l'entraînement physique. Je fais appel à tous et toutes à soutenir l'implémentation de ma trinité de théorie. Mais il faut comprendre la gouvernance de la Chine. Il faut comprendre nos chefs, Justin Trudeau, M. Legault, Joe Biden, mon frère Scorpion de l'astrologie, je parle. Il faut lire, puis les chefs de service de sécurité, puis le chef de service de sécurité des Canadiens, de l'RCMP. Il faut comprendre ça. faut lire la gouvernance de la Chine parce que leur système, ça fonctionnait pour eux. Des 10, les ports, pas les cochons, mais portuaires dans les ports où il y a où que sont les navettes, les bateaux, les ports comme le port de Montréal, P-O-R-T, pas P-O-R-C, P-O-R-T. 4 lettres aussi, mais pas comme le cochon, mais pas comme les cochons, mais comme les porcs. Des 10 plus grands, plus complexes, plus grands de grandeur puis de capacité, c'est des 10, il y en a 7, peut-être 8. Je pense 7, je suis sûr, mais peut-être même 8. Du monde se trouve en Chine. Qui ont bâti, hein, construit. Ce qu'on dit, j'ai pas d'intérêt en Chine, mais ils ont quand même, leur système, ça a fonctionné pour eux autres. En fin de show. Maintenant, comment on va régler ça avec les citations? Moi, je suis pour la défense, service et sécurité. Votre bon samaritain, qui n'est pas parfait, loin de là. Pas loin de là. Mais, je veux la renaissance de la belle province, du collectif de civilisation nord-américain pour la joie, puis la sécurité, puis l'entraînement physique, puis pour le compromis du 21e siècle, puis mon rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon. Le royaume du dragon et la déesse qui dansent un empire pour l'Amérique du Nord. Qu'on construit plus ici pour la défense de côte à côte, d'océan à l'océan, de l'Atlantique. Par là, l'Atlantique. Par là, le Pacifique. À l'est, c'est l'Atlantique. À l'ouest, c'est le Pacifique. Pour bâtir et reconstruire la Renaissance ici, en Amérique du Nord. Parce qu'on forme un collectif de civilisation. Puis je fais appel aux chefs et à tout le monde, même les citoyens, s'ils veulent savoir plus, pour savoir qu'est-ce qu'on a à faire. Il faut lire et essayer de comprendre la gouvernance de la Chine que Xi Jinping a fait écrit, dicté puis écrit. C'est par écrit puis par la communication orale. Les 4 volumes de la gouvernance de la Chine. Volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, qui a été écrit pendant une dizaine d'années. Depuis 2012, en octobre 23, ça a commencé à peu près le 23 octobre 2012 jusqu'à l'année passée, 2022, novembre 7. En 10 ans, les 4 volumes. Là, il faut comprendre l'idéologie, la philosophie, puis qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent faire, parce que leur système il a fonctionné pour eux. Un changement de système en Chine, aïe, je sais pas. Je sais pas. Qu'est-ce que je sais, c'est mes philosophies, mes théories, mes défauts, mes vices, le fait que je suis médiocre dans certaines choses, comme ça, mais en étant médiocre, comme ça, et je suis super excellent et très fort dans d'autres choses. Comme la géopolitique, l'analyse en géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, la boxe, la danse, je suis le meilleur. Philosophie, mais je suis pas parfait. Je fais appel à tous et toutes. Avec amour et santé, je vous souhaite une bonne journée. Love you. Give yourselves hugs. Donnez-vous des câlins avec consentement. Comme jamais avant, et mon message principal, give yourselves a hug like you never hugged before, is the main message. Now I need to go BDSM myself a bit.